My name is Chris Hafler, and this is my midterm presentation for Modern Learning Environments in the fall of 2020. The lesson I will be explaining is on landforms and bodies of water, and the target audience will be my second grade class in the subject of social studies. It will include all 19 students. The lesson will take place at Fannie M. Hiller School in Hackensack, New Jersey, and it will be incorporated into 5 days in late winter or early spring. The objectives are that students will be able to identify and explain different landforms, and students will be able to identify and explain different bodies of water. The big idea of the lesson is that Earth is made up of two main things: landforms and bodies of water. They are found across the planet and constitute nearly every surface. The essential questions being posed are: how are landforms different from one another? How are bodies of water different from each other? And what types of landforms and bodies of water are found in our community? The evaluation techniques include both independent and group. The independent assessment techniques are exit tickets, reading questions, landform model and presentation, and class discussions. The group assessment techniques include a quiz from BrainPop Jr., a virtual field trip with questions to respond to, and a Google slide that will be created as part of a class slideshow. Each slide will be created through collaboration from 2 students. The first part that goes with this lesson is sense and meaning. Sense means, does this make sense to me? So students will start with a KWL chart, which assists them in making sense because it helps to tap into their prior knowledge. And the meaning means, why should I care about this and how does it relate to me? Students will eventually have to relate this content to their own community so they can determine what kinds of landforms and bodies of water are found throughout Hackensack. And they will have to know what each part is so they can create their own model to explain to the class. The primacy recency effect includes the part that's called primacy, which means what is taught at the beginning of the lesson will be remembered. And for my primacy time slot, I will be including teacher-led instruction and class discussion. The recency effect is that what is taught at the end will be remembered, and students will be creating models and then video presentations explaining those models towards the end. So the learning styles include a variety of activities that will allow each learner to be presented knowledge in a way that speaks to their preferred style of learning. Visual learners will experience watching both a BrainPop video, a virtual field trip, and classmate videos. Auditory learners will experience classroom discussions, and they will get to speak when explaining their landform models and listen to the videos created by other students. Kinesthetic learners will create a hands-on model of landforms and water bodies. And learners who have a strength with reading and writing will get to read and answer reading passages and questions, and they will also get to create a Google slide in which they have to research facts prior to doing that. The 8 multiple intelligences will be included in this lesson. Bodily kinesthetic and visual spatial learners will both get to benefit from creating a hands-on model of landforms and bodies of water using edible items. Interpersonal learners will get to collaborate with classmates. Musical learners will get to incorporate music into their Google slide or their independent video. Logical mathematical learners will have to determine the scale of the model and also organize the information that they are going to present in their Google slide and with their models. Intrapersonal learners will work independently for creating their model and the video that goes along with it. Verbal linguistic students will get to create a video recording in which they speak and will also read a passage and answer questions on that. And naturalistic learners will get to learn about landforms and bodies of water which occur naturally in nature. TPACK includes the marriage of pedagogical concepts, technological concepts, and content knowledge. These come together to ensure that lessons have technology and pedagogy and concepts that will make sure that the lesson will flow smoothly and also give students the most learning possible. The pedagogy being implemented includes project-based learning and constructivism so that students can lead their learning while the teacher acts as a facilitator. Technology has been decided upon based on age and appropriateness, and it includes some Google apps and using a Flipgrid. The SAM-R model starts with substituting technology for a lesson that could use the enhancement of it, and it transforms it into something that is even better. For this, we will go from students creating a model and presenting it in front of the class to getting to the point where not only do they build a model, but they record themselves, post to Flipgrid, have other students make comments, and then they can even select the guest mode and invite outside participants to view and comment on their videos. Technology included is Flipgrid, Google Apps, including Google Docs, Google Slides, and Google Forms. Google Forms will be used as exit tickets. Google Slides will be a class slideshow in which pairs of students collaborate to make each slide, and they'll use Google Docs to collaborate with their information. BrainPop Junior will have a video be watched, and virtualfieldtrips.org is how we will be exploring our virtual field trip. Neurons and sensory input are part of brain-based learning, and what that says is that the senses stimulate the brain and the neurons in the brain, and that causes learning to occur. And the senses that will be utilized in this lesson include sight, hearing, and touch. Sight and hearing will occur naturally in what the students are seeing and what they're listening to. Touch will occur because there will be a hands-on model that students have to create, which will use food, so there might be some tasting and smelling going on as well. The cerebral lobes include 4 different lobes of the brain. The frontal lobe will control organization and figuring out how to put models together. The temporal lobe is going to be responsible mostly for students participating in class discussions, explaining their landform models, and language in general. The parietal lobe will handle math and spelling, and then processing information about touch and taste and temperature and movement as well. And the occipital lobe is what controls vision mostly, which is very important because students will be seeing many different videos from their classmates. The limbic system is composed of many parts that have different jobs, the most relevant being memory and motivation. The hippocampus controls memories and retaining facts. This is important because students will have to recall those facts when they're teaching their fellow classmates. The thalamus is going to be responsible for transmitting sensory information, which the senses are known to help students retain information. The amygdala is responsible for motivation, and there are some motivating factors throughout this lesson, such as working with friends and getting to eat food during the building of the landform and body of water models that will help to motivate students. The information processing model asserts that the brain has different types of memory, and most memories are gathered through senses, which is supported by the sensory register, which filters out unimportant ideas and helps to keep just the ones that students need to know. Working memory will be helped because students will use it throughout the lesson, and the transfer of learning will also help because students will transfer knowledge and be able to work on the project that they have to teach their fellow classmates. These are my works cited. Thank you for watching my midterm presentation.